Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. This is your Erik ten Hag press conference reaction, as well as Manchester United look like they could be out of the race to sign Harry Kane before it even begins. We'll talk about that as well. Obviously, the big thing to talk about is the Bruno Fernandes injury situation as well. Did you know, I haven't done did you know for ages, did you know that if Bruno Fernandes misses the game against Tottenham tomorrow night, it's the first time in his professional career he's missed a game through injury? Absolutely incredible. Absolutely magnificent. I mean, he's not 19, he's in his late 20s. It's incredible. It really, really is. But look, lots to get involved in. And Erik ten Hag has been speaking. There is a brilliant line. The reason I'm passionate about press conferences, whether it was Solskjaer, Rangnick, Van Gaal, ten Hag, I love the press conferences because it's a glimpse into the manager sometimes. And there was a line there today that I absolutely love, and I want to get it right near the start. He was talking about Spurs, and he was talking about they'll be mad and angry after losing so badly against Newcastle. But he came out with an absolute stonker of a line, and he said, at Manchester United, the opponent can never be more hungrier than we are. What a line. What a line. And it's so true. And this is mentality. You know, he needs the players to feed off that mentality. I don't think he's got all those players yet, but what a way to manage. Like, yeah, Spurs are going to be up for it. They're going to bounce back. They're at home. They've paid their fans back. They're going to be up for it. You just say to your players, no opposition player can be more hungry than you when you're wearing a Man United shirt. Mentality king. It's a great line. It's a great line for anything, isn't it? If you're ever worried about your opposition because they might be more up for it, or their dog's died or something, and you think they're going to do it for their dog, no opposition can be more hungrier than you. What a line that was. So lots to get into. Can I just remind myself and remind you as well, remember tomorrow they go on Full Sail. We're doing June the 6th in Dublin. It's a bigger venue. The tickets went so fast for Dublin last time. Check out tomorrow morning on the show. We'll put the link out. But if you are a member of the channel, they are already out for 24 hours pre-sale for the members, because obviously they support the channel. 24 hours. The link is on the community tab. So if you're a member and you want to go to the end of the season show, get your tickets. Links in the community tab if you're a member. If you want to become a member, I've dropped it in the live chat, but you will have it 24 hours early. Those tickets will go quick. Dublin's really good, and it's the end of the season show, which is going to be a bigger show than what we did last time. Anyway, let's get into the press conference. So the first thing I think everybody wants to know is what's happening with the injury situation. I mentioned that Bruno Fernandes has never missed a game through injury in his career, which is absolutely incredible, as I say. Erik ten Hag said this: look, there are players who are out, Martinez and Varane. With Bruno Fernandes, there is a question mark. It looks, there was a story that he was going to miss the game. I think he probably is going to miss the game, to be honest. I think I'll explain why in a moment. But he is not in his protective boot and crutches today. He's been at Carrington on his own, doing a little bit of running around, and there's a question mark that he could actually play tomorrow night. I mean, he wants to play. Bruno Fernandes wants to play. We know this. Bruno Fernandes doesn't want to come off against Liverpool. Bruno Fernandes doesn't want to miss games. I'm telling you now, a lot of footballers would be out for 2 weeks with what he's got, because that's the mentality of a lot of footballers. They'd be out for 2 weeks. This is not Bruno Fernandes' mentality. He would play twice a day if he could. He's an unbelievable... Whether you don't like him, whether you think he's petulant, whether you think he's inconsistent, if you could bottle his mentality and put it into 11 players, we'd be sorted, because he will play. He, you know the game. We've watched the game. Some of us have played the game. 100%. There's a lot of footballers out there. I'm not necessarily saying Man United players, but maybe. But there's a lot of footballers out there. They get a bit of an injury like that, and they're coming off. They're coming off after 20 minutes. Bruno played until the start of extra time. But look, in relation to the injury, whether he plays tomorrow night or not, this is what we were talking about in the preview last night. That's not a bad injury. That's about the swelling. If you do what Eriksen did, you've got to come off. You're not running that off. You're not playing till the end of the game and then having the operation. When you do something that needs an operation, you know about it. Look at Martinez. You can't play with that. The fact that Bruno could play through the pain just shows you that that was swelling, and obviously the swelling was getting more and more worse. And he's probably I think if there was any risk that he'd done any major damage that had took him off, I think it was really a twist of an ankle or something. So the swelling is the problem now, and it's how quickly that swelling comes down, because effectively he's not really long-term injury, he's just in pain because of the swelling. And can they get that swelling down? If they get it down, he can play tomorrow. But I personally just think I probably wouldn't start him. I think you've got Fred should play in this game anyway with Casemiro, and then Eriksen and Sabitzer need to start. You wouldn't mind starting either of them. So you can afford to not play Bruno in this game. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's wearing a shirt tomorrow night for Manchester United. Now, we don't know whether McTominay's back fit. And I suppose at the end of the day, some people would say they don't really care whether McTominay's back fit. But that wasn't mentioned. There was no question about Harry Maguire and whether he comes into the team. Again, I think there's a good chance he will come back into the team. But ultimately, I don't think you should be changing a winning team and a winning back line that was very good. Alexander has given us a super chat. He says Bruno is a leader. He has to be captain next season. I just think he epitomises exactly what we want in a Manchester United player. We want somebody who wants to play every minute of every game. We want somebody who will go that extra line. We want somebody that when they're injured, they don't want to go off. It's a rarity in the modern game. There's not many people with that mentality. And I'll tell you what, in fairness to Harry Maguire, he never really used to get injured that much when he was a first team player. He is the sort of player that, will play and has that old school mentality. Whether he's got the ability, obviously, is up for debate. So it's not like, you don't just want to. I mean, most of us would play with a broken leg. So it's not just that makes him brilliant. He's talented. He has a massive influence on the team, but he also has got that mentality. He doesn't want to not play a minute. And it's a great thing to have, especially in the modern game, because you do get a lot of players these days. They're given so much wealth, and there's so many people around them telling them how great they are, that by the time they hit 21, 22, you could call it the Dele Alli effect, couldn't you? I mean, I don't know Dele Alli, but you could predict this could be a problem. You're hungry, then suddenly you get fed and you're like, oh, I'm full up, I'm not interested anymore. And players become a little bit pampered. It's great to see a player like Bruno Fernandes that's never lost that hunger, and we need more of that. They are out there. We talk about transfers. It's not just about ability, it's about personality. Dele Alli's a very talented player. But for some reason there's a mentality problem, isn't there? We need to get the talent and the mentality. Sammy, welcome to the members club. Don't forget to check out the community tab if you're thinking about getting your tickets early for the Dublin tour. Maguire was world class against Brighton, says Barry. Yep, he was flawless. Didn't put a foot wrong. Anyway, let's move on. I do want to talk about Harry Kane, but let me just go through some of the other things that have been said. He was asked about what the danger of playing against Spurs is. Erik Ten Hag said, look, Spurs are dangerous now because we've had some bounce backs ourselves this season, and we've shown that resilience. But Spurs at home, after such a bad result, they'll want to respond. They'll be mad. But that's when he came out with this great thing, because he said, look, they'll want to respond, they'll be mad, and that anger can be a great fuel when your next game comes along. We saw it after Brentford. I think we won after the City game at Etihad. We saw it after Anfield. We saw it after Sevilla. We saw it after Aston Villa. We've responded to bad results all season. And we owe Villa one at the weekend, by the way, and they're bloody good. That's going to be a tough game on Sunday, which is why beating Spurs tomorrow gives us a little bit of breathing space. We can't afford. We lose to Spurs and Villa, we're opening that door up a little bit that we do not want to open up. So, look, yes, Spurs will be fueled by their anger and frustration of the weekends. They've sacked one interim to bring another interim, so they're going to be fueled. The crowd will be up. Every crowd's up for it, no matter what, for the first 10 minutes. We need to silence the crowd, and we need to beat Spurs. And Ten Hag has put it perfectly. He says, look, no opposition can be more hungry than a Manchester United player. And he's right. That's a mentality. It's just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, because we all have our doubts. I've played the game. I'm sure you've played the game. I remember like cup finals and stuff when I used to play, and you'd be like, yeah. Some people, you look around the dressing room, some people are really just obliviously confident, and sometimes your best player is somebody who's nervous before a game, and it's getting into those heads and getting everybody. I know I used to play when I used to play football, like some games I'd start like a brick. I just couldn't do it. And then you'd win a 50-50 and then suddenly you're up. Or you'd have a shot at the post, and you're up. And I was never good at starting the game bang on the thing. And the only way I could do that was, with that sort of inspiration. As you know, I've got quite a creative mind, so I respond to things that inspire me. And I mean that if Ten Hag says that before the game tomorrow, I would challenge any Man United player not to go out there and put in a performance, because absolutely the opposition can be as hungry as they like. As I said, the mascot could have passed away and they might all be going, let's go and do it for the dinosaur. And the reality is, I don't give a shit about your dinosaur. We're Manchester United. We're going to go out and be hungrier than you. And that's what it's all about, 100%. He was asked whether he thought it was a top 4 decider. He said, look, our approach is to win any and every game at Manchester United. There's no different approach. Obviously, we're aware of the game and Spurs are in a top 4 race and so are we. But I'd be lying if I said we're putting more focus on this game than we are Aston Villa or Brighton or, Wolves in a couple of weeks. Our aim is to win every single game, because that's how you build resilience. And he took that on and he said, look, we've shown resilience this season. Unfortunately, we've had to show resilience after bad results. What the next step for this team is, this is Ten Hag's words again, the next step for this team is we've shown resilience because we've had a bad result and then we've gone and won the next game and the next game. So we've shown mental strength to be able to bounce back and resilience to take a defeat and turn it into a win. The next step is to do that in game. So when you're 2-0 down to Liverpool at Anfield, instead of collapsing and then having to take all the stick and humiliation at full time for the next few days and then responding, you actually, at 2-0 down within the game at Anfield, that's when the resilience kicks in and you get back into the game in the game. And that's brilliant from Ten Hag as well, because Brentford, we had to bounce back at full time for the next game. Etihad, you bounce back at full time for the next game. Anfield, you bounce back at full time for the next game. What the next step is getting that resilience to kick in game, so that you don't have to have the humiliating full time. You actually kick in game. It's, I think what he's basically saying is, look, that resilience is there, but we need to push it in game. That's the next step. And then the next step after that is stopping it from happening in the first place. A point is a good result given our away record, says Enjoy Writing. Well, you know what? I was going to mention this, and you're absolutely spot on, so give yourself a pat on the back. Our away record this season is absolutely rubbish. It's absolutely terrible. We're going to talk about Harry Kane now, but let me just say, if I said to you, BBC website is what I'm on, nothing else. If I said to you BBC Premier League table, which I've got up at the moment, so Arsenal, top of the league, away, we lost. Man City, away, lost. Newcastle, away, lost. Villa, away, lost. So out of the top 5 teams, we've lost to them all away. Who's in 6th? Spurs. We're playing them tomorrow night. 7th, Liverpool, we lost. Brighton, not played them away yet. Fulham away, we did win. Brentford, we lost. So we've only won 1 game away from home against the top 10 this season, and that was Fulham with a last-minute winner from Garnacho. So, look, this is a great point, and it would be probably a good... I wouldn't call it a great point at Spurs, but as confident as we are, we've not won away against the top 10 this season, apart from Fulham. So we do need to be a little bit wary of it, and for me, this is a big game for Manchester United tomorrow night. I know we've got a lot going on, but it's a big game. And actually, we haven't got a lot going on. We've got an FA Cup final in June. The next 5-6 weeks is all about the Premier League. And tomorrow night's a massive game. And so is Aston Villa on Sunday. So, look, it is. It's a really, really big game. Don't pair Maguire and Shaw. Maguire will pull back Shaw like previous match against Spurs when we were beaten 6 goals. No Maguire. Addy, I saw a clip of that the other day. I had no intention of mentioning that, but somebody done a compilation of Maguire mistakes. I mean, I don't know the mindset of somebody who wants to take the time to do a compilation of Maguire mistakes. You've got to question what you're doing with your life. Take your dog for a walk. Even better, get a dog if you haven't got a dog. But they had the clip against Spurs in COVID where we got beat. Was it 6-1 at home? And Luke Shaw's about to tackle a Spurs player, and Maguire pulls him over. Just like pulls Luke Shaw over. It's one of the most amazing bits of defending I've ever seen, but not in a good way. Bruno has only been out for 1 domestic game since joining United. Ironically, it was the 3-2 win against Tottenham last season, says Jordan. But I don't think he was injured for that, was he? Maybe the information I'd got wrong. I don't know. Erik ten Hag was asked about Harry Kane, by the way, and didn't really say anything about it other than respectful stuff about him being a good player. But you might have seen it this morning. It was in the Manchester Evening News, and to be fair, it was mentioned yesterday by a couple of outlets as well. Manchester United could well be out of a Harry Kane transfer before it even begins. Yet again, another story coming out that Manchester United will not dance to the tune of Daniel Levy and Spurs all summer. They will not do it. They have got no intention of getting caught in a long, drawn-out transfer affair that ultimately takes all summer. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll believe it when I see it, because if this is what we're going to do, this is new. This is a new Manchester United. Regardless of new ownership, whatever, maybe this is the change that Erik ten Hag is bringing in, because I'm telling you now, my prediction back in September that we would buy Harry Kane was totally based on, we'll express an interest in May and we'll end up signing him on August the 31st for exactly the price that Tottenham want, and that's what will happen. If we're actually going to say, no, we're not going to do that, and Ziz says we will do it, we're mugs. If we're going to say at the start of June, there's your offer, take it or leave it, and Spurs say no, and we walk away and buy somebody else, I'm all here for that, because I don't mind us signing Harry Kane. He's not my number one choice, but there's no doubt he's world class. But if we try and buy him and they say no, and then we go and buy someone else, I can't argue with that. I think that's what we should do, because there's lots of good options out there. And the reality is, if you can get Harry Kane for 90 million, and let's say Napoli want Osimhen, they want 120 million, so there's a 30 million pound gap. Well, you could argue that 30 million pounds worth it anyway, because Osimhen's a lot younger. But I also think he's worth it if you can get him on the tour in July and start the season with him in August. Whereas you pay £90 million for Harry Kane on August 31st, he doesn't go on the tour, he doesn't get used to the team, and he doesn't play the first few games of the season. So for me, it's not worth getting Harry Kane if it's going to take all summer. And we already know that will happen, because Man City had this problem when they tried to buy him 2 years ago. Harry Kane basically put a transfer request in, if you remember, and I think he put it in at the start of June, and it sort of got retracted, but because City went and bought Grealish instead. But that, we can't do that. We cannot get locked into this, and I really do hope that if we're buying Harry Kane, we do it in June, and if we're not buying him, we leave it, because last summer we did it with De Jong. We've always done this, and this would be really progressive. No matter how long Richard Arnold or John Murtagh are going to stay, this would be really progressive if actually they went, look, he wants to sign for us, this is the offer, accept it by June the 10th, and if you don't, we're moving on. And people would say, well, we could do June the 30th because we're not on tour until then. But we can't really, because other options will get snapped up by other people. Whilst we're waiting on Kane till the end of June, Chelsea, PSG will be dealing with Osimhen and maybe going for Højlund and people like that. We've got to be efficient here. And the interesting thing will be is that Harry Kane has got to kickstart this move. Of course he has. Because if Man United say, no, we're going to go and buy someone else, where are you going to go, Harry? You're just going to sit there bumping your gums saying, well, I want to go. You've got to force that move, mate. You've got to force that move. And if I've spoke to a few Spurs fans, and Spurs fans are like, we don't even agree if Daniel Levy is going to take all summer on this, because it doesn't benefit us. Harry Kane's been a loyal servant to this club. Why should he stay for another rebuild when he's 30? And also, if we're going to sell Kane, we need to sell him early in the window so we can buy replacements. So actually, Spurs fans, in the majority, are quite switched on. They don't want Kane to go, but if he is going to go, they want him to go quick so they can get replacements in as well. So, people need to realise it won't benefit Kane, it won't benefit Man United, and it won't benefit Spurs fans. It will benefit Daniel Levy and Beyonce and the NFL and their go-kart track and their pockets as a brand to get what they want, even if it takes till the end of August. But it only benefits the Spurs board. So I think even from Spurs fans' points of view and Harry Kane's point of view, they want it done quickly as well. So look, United need to get this done quickly, and I agree. Said the same thing about the Frenkie de Jong saga. I'll believe it when I see it. I agree, Mark. No, JT, I agree. I mean, I can see United still taking all summer on this, but it doesn't benefit Spurs, does it? It doesn't benefit Spurs to wait till the end of August, because they've got £90 million in the skyrocket, and then they've got nowhere to go with it, and they get overcharged. So I would love for United to be efficient in its transfer business, but history tells me these execs are incapable of doing it. Stephen, I agree. I don't think they're capable of doing it. And, I'll throw that challenge out there like all of you will. I don't think they're capable of doing this sort of a deal that quickly. But, hopefully they can. Hopefully they can. Just a bit of a reminder today, please do smash a like on the video, by the way, everyone who's tuning in. Hopefully some positive news around Bruno Fernandes, as I said. I'll probably do a 7 o'clock show tonight. I won't be doing an 8 o'clock show because I will be doing what most football fans will be doing tonight, regardless of rivalry and loyalty. It is a title decider. It is Man City against Arsenal, and I think it is kicking off at 8 o'clock. So we will be live on That's Football at 8 o'clock for that watch along, and you're more than welcome to join me for that. And remember, tomorrow it's our turn against Spurs for a 8:15 kickoff. I don't know. I don't really get that. So we'll do a 7 o'clock show tonight. Twitch is going to be back, Christian, about 3:30. I think I'm back on there. I've just got to sign players, so I'll need your help. Goldbridge TV at about 3:30. Season 4, help me buy some players. We'll do that together. And don't forget, if you are a member, if you want to join the members club, click the join button. But if you are a member, go to the community tab. We've just put out the link for Dublin tickets for our tour on June the 6th. End of season bash. It's going to be really interactive. We'll be giving out awards and all sorts and talking about, if you went to the original one or you wanted to go, get your tickets. You've got 24 hours before it goes out for public consumption. If you're not a member, don't worry. I'm sure there'll be some left tomorrow morning to get as well. They do go quick for Dublin though. I don't know what it is. But if you are a member, check out the community tab. And they're out. Armin says, why so short? It's a Ten Hag press conference, mate. His press conference lasted about 4 minutes. And I'm not really one for over-egging the pudding on a lunchtime when I'm hungry. But we will be back at 7. They won't do any deal fast as they won't have their holiday in Barcelona. Tottenham just isn't the same, says Drew. There you go. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'll see you on Twitch at about 3:30 if you're interested. 7 o'clock tonight. All That's Football for Man City against Arsenal. And as I said, if you want to get your tickets and you remember, check out the community tab. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Thanks for watching.